It was a warm summer evening when Sarah agreed to meet up with a guy she had been chatting with on a dating app. They had exchanged messages for a few days and seemed to have a lot in common. So when he asked her out, she didn't hesitate to say yes. They agreed to meet at a trendy new bar in the city. Sarah arrived on time and looked around for her date. She spotted a guy sitting at a table, looking around nervously. He looked nothing like his profile picture, but Sarah decided to give him the benefit of the doubt and walked over to introduce herself. The guy who introduced himself as Dave seemed nice enough at first. They ordered drinks and began chatting about their interests and hobbies. Sarah found out that Dave was a huge fan of video games and spent most of his free time playing them. As the night went on, Sarah began to feel more and more uncomfortable. Dave kept talking about himself and didn't seem to be interested in what she had to say. He also kept checking his phone every few minutes, which Sarah found rude. After a few drinks, Dave became more aggressive and started making inappropriate comments. He even tried to touch Sarah's leg under the table, which made her feel extremely uncomfortable. She tried to change the subject, but Dave kept bringing the conversation back to sex. Sarah decided that she had enough and told Dave that she was going to leave. Dave became angry and started yelling at her, accusing her of leading him on. Sarah quickly grabbed her bag and left the bar, feeling shaken and upset. The next day, Sarah received a barrage of angry messages from Dave. He accused her of being a tease and said that she had wasted his time. Sarah blocked him on the dating app and tried to forget about the whole ordeal. A few days later, Sarah received a message from another guy on the same dating app. They hit it off immediately and decided to meet up for a date. Sarah was nervous after her previous experience, but decided to give it another try. Unfortunately, the second date was even worse than the first. The guy who introduced himself as Tom seemed nice at first, but soon started talking about his ex-girlfriend and how she had cheated on him. He then proceeded to get drunk and started making inappropriate comments and gestures. Sarah tried to leave, but Tom became aggressive and wouldn't let her go. He kept trying to kiss her and touch her, even after she told him to stop. Sarah managed to push him away and ran out of the restaurant, feeling humiliated and scared. After these two horrible experiences, Sarah was ready to give up on online dating for good. However, a few weeks later, she received a message from a guy named Michael. He seemed kind and genuine, and Sarah felt like they had a real connection. They decided to meet up for a date at a coffee shop. When Sarah arrived, Michael was already there, waiting for her with a smile on his face. They ordered drinks and began talking about their interests and hobbies. Michael was a great listener and seemed generally interested in getting to know Sarah. As the date went on, Sarah began to feel more and more comfortable with Michael. They laughed and joked together, and Sarah felt like she had finally found someone who she could connect with on a deeper level. At the end of the day, Michael walked Sarah to her car and asked if he could see her again. Sarah smiled and said yes. They exchanged numbers and hugged goodbye, both feeling excited about the possibility of a new relationship. Over the next few weeks, Sarah and Michael went on several more dates. They learned more about each other's lives and interests, and Sarah felt like she had finally found someone who she could be herself around. Eventually, Michael started changing. He started getting more and more aggressive towards her, more controlling. And one night, she had enough. She had to break it off and didn't know exactly how to tell Michael. But she raised up the courage to tell him, and he went insane. He tried to grab the kitchen knife and ran towards her to thrust at her, but she had the kitchen table board next to her. She lifted it and blocked one of his swipes. Then she grabbed the coffee pot and swung at his head, knocked him out. She ran to her, grabbed her cell phone, dialed 911, and ran out the door, screaming and yelling from her neighbors to hear. She ran into one of her neighbors' apartments, locked herself inside. He was still unconscious when the police came to grab him. When they got him, when the police searched his car, they noticed he had duct tape, rope, knives, and shovels. She, to this day, thanks God that they got there in time. Sarah deleted her profile and to this day never returned to online dating again.